This review covers the 1969 Chevy Nova SS. It's a 125 scale kit from Revell, number 2098. It's a skill level 2 kit, and this one was issued in 2008. Back in 1969, the Nova SS was a performance bargain. At only $280 more than the base Nova, you'd get 350 cubic inches and 300 horsepower. But there was also the optional L78 engine, 396 cubic inches, and of the 17,500 sold, nearly a third were equipped with that optional engine, a big block with 375 horsepower, providing the driver with a mid-13-second quarter-mile time. Base price for the Nova SS was around $2,237, but today, one in good shape can fetch up to $50 grand. Now, this kit goes together well, but every kit has some issues, and most importantly, we're going to build the drag version of this kit, and there's a lot of accurate information in here as far as location and finishing of some of the parts that are drag specific that aren't really mentioned in the instructions. There's also some opportunities. You could, kind of mix and match some parts here to make a great street rod, and you need some tips maybe to help you along, some preparation for decals and some adhesive suggestions, and if you follow along, we'll tell you all the facts. This classic kit was one of the special edition versions, and it comes with extra pieces. It's a 2-in-1 kit, although you could do the mix and match and make it a 3-in-1 kit. Now, it was issued in 2008, like we mentioned, and we'll be building the drag version. And when you're done with the kit, it's about 7 3/4 inches long, 2 3/4 inches wide, and 2 1/4 inches high. This kit has 136 pieces molded in white and chrome, and it has some clear parts for the windows and black vinyl tires and water slide decals. The instructions are clear and easy to follow, but there are some small parts and small decals that might be a challenge for inexperienced builders, but it goes together well. Here are the contents of the kit. The parts were molded very cleanly in this sample, as it was one of the original issue kits. And it builds one of two ways, according to the instructions, but that combo works very well too. You could mix and match parts for a nice hot rod for the street. Here are the decals for the kit. You get some nice broad black stripes for accent, a lot of decals for the interior and sponsor decals for Supernova, and there's a lot of extra detailing stripes and decals in here for a number of combinations. Construction starts with the engine, so go ahead and start finishing off the block in Chevy engine red. It's got a white oil filter and a steel-colored transmission. Now we're going to add some of the other pieces. You see the alternator there is not a floater. It's got a bracket to mount it. It's painted aluminum, along with some of the pulleys, and you can see that the manifold is also that color. The carburetors have a gold tone to them, and the chrome air cleaner covers can be painted flat white along the edges for the paper filter. Now, about that alternator, the instructions don't show it being part of the racing engine, but it should actually, in fact, be used. So go ahead and install that. The distributor gets painted to gloss black along with the aluminum stock there, and along with a steel-colored water pump, and the other parts are staged and ready to install. The fan clutch is a steel color. We're going to add that with the gloss fan blades. We've got a pair of chrome valve covers to add onto the heads. The exhaust headers are molded in 2 pieces each, and that's about the only way to produce those tangled shapes. So go ahead and glue those together and then clamp them into position so that they stay close to each other. They can be steel color. Here you can see the completed engine, and it looks really great. It's a nicely detailed V8, and also note that we've added that missing alternator as not described in the instructions. And by the way, they are at the end of the review if you need any clarification on parts locations, etc. Marked in red here, you'll see some copyright script that is molded into the visible underside of the chassis, you may want to scrape that off, smooth it off with some sandpaper before you paint the chassis semi-gloss black. With the chassis dry, we can mount the engine into place. Now, just a reminder, scrape off the paint or plating before you glue those parts together to get a good joint at that seam. Now, when you put the engine into place, you know, the transmission goes on top of the third member there, cross member, and make sure that the engine is, fully seated onto the mounts. Next, locate the parts for the roll bar, the 3 pieces there, and assemble that. And also note that the shifter here is the stock shifter, and that's the one that should be used for your race version. Glue the shifter into place on the console or on the hump there, and also, of course, the roll bar into the floor positions. Now note that we're going to detail the door panels. There's not a lot of detail in the stock Nova, but some chrome trim here will set it off nicely. So assemble the 2-piece seats for each, and also those will be painted semi-gloss black like the rest of the interior portions, and use your chrome pen or a brush to add a little trim appointments to those as well. The dashboard is the same semi-gloss black along with the steering portions here, and there's a nice set of decals for the gauges. Use that chrome pen for some of the appointments on those 3 pieces as well, and assemble the dashboard assembly. Now glue the seats into place on the rib there on the bottom of the floor in front, and add the dashboard to the grooves on the sidewalls, panels, and then we're going to add the firewall, and it's also a semi-gloss black along with the gold tone brake booster, and the lid on the cylinder, master cylinder, is also a gold tone as well. Also note that I've left off the washer bottle. Most drag cars don't race in the rain. Also, the battery isn't included on fender wall because that's going to be relocated to the trunk in the rear because it gives better weight transfer when taking off on the line. Now we've flipped the chassis over. You see the fuel tank is painted steel color. We're also going to add the front lower A-arm suspension part. But as for the stabilizer bar, you won't need that for the drag version. You can leave that off. That's for stability and turning, and drags are always run in a straight line. Now look these parts up, the springs and shackles. The springs are painted steel color, and the pumpkin there with the rear axles painted semi-gloss black. Also note the traction bars are painted a bright yellow with a black mounting portion. And now you see some more detailing here along with the rear suspension portion. That'll be installed using the posts and receivers on the chassis, and paint the drive shaft a steel color and insert that simultaneously when you drop that rear suspension into place. Locate the shocks, and I painted those bright red, and then scrape any paint off there for the mounting points from the chassis to the bracket, and install those into place. The tires are pretty nice. The tread pattern on the stock tires is nice, and the great looking rears, those are hollows, and they have a nice looking drag wheel inserts, and they were a little shiny though, so I gave them a coat of satin clear for a more realistic appearance. And you see the wheel backs are painted flat black, and they sandwich in around the tires, both the slicks and the front tires as well. There's also a nice set of Hoosier logos that you can place on the rear slicks, but also a note of caution here, you need to insert the mounting pins. You see the silver pins there to the inside of the inner hubs, protruding back towards the chassis, so that you can mount those later on the chassis. And speaking of which, you see that the tires have been mounted here. You just use a little dab of super glue on the ends of those pins protruding from the inner wheels, and glue that into the holes provided in the chassis so that they'll rotate, or you glue them solidly so they don't. It's up to you. The radiator is painted aluminum, and the support there is a flat black. Now, you won't need the fan shroud. There's not enough heat during a quarter-mile run to necessitate that, so leave it off for weight savings. Now glue the radiator to the support there and put that onto the frame in front of the engine. Now we can work on body preparation, and you see those braces there with the red X's up front in the engine bay. You can remove those and clean that up. Also, there's a parting line you'll find along the top of the drip edge, and then right along the fender edges all the way around the front and back. So remove those with a light sandpaper. Additionally, if you're using the decals for the body emblems, go ahead and sand those off so that they don't interfere with laying down those decals onto the body. After giving the body a light coat of primer and then a light sanding, all prepped and ready for paint, you can go ahead and spray your color coat there. I used a metallic silver, and the drag decals were added to the body at this time, and they responded well to some setting solutions, so you can use that. They are also applied to the windows, and I used some Testors clear part cement for that. It seems to work better than white glue, has a little more strength, and it easily gets cleaned off before it dries. If needed, that is, and of course the windshield and the window glass needs to be installed into the interior as well. Speaking of the interior, it was completed, so now we're going to scrape off a little paint wherever the glue points are in front and back, locate those, and correspondingly in the body, and go ahead and install the interior up into the body shell with some strong glue. Now it's crunch time. You're going to add the chassis to the body. Make sure that you know where it's going to be located. Use some good strong glue for those contact points, and make sure that it is fully seated and all the contacts are even so that the floor tires will rest on the ground. Now we can start adding some detail. The semi-gloss radiator hose gets installed into the radiator and onto the on the block. Now we can work on some of the front end parts. You see the grille there has been blacked out for the centerpiece. The headlight lenses added with some of that Testors cement. And additionally, that proud looking SS emblem right in the middle, apply the decal to that. Lastly, apply some of the amber clear to the turn signals, and when that's dry, glue them into the fender, and then scrape the chrome off and add both units to the front end of your vehicle. And while you're at it, get the license plate bracket and plate if you want to put one on there, and attach that to the lower fender as well. Okay, same process works for the rear bumper, except that you've got some clear lenses to add to the bumper instead of amber. Additionally, if you want to put the license plate bracket and license plate tag on there, go ahead and do that now. Now we'll go back to the front. We're going to add the hood hinges. Those are painted flat black, and also the frontage, the chrome trim for the frontage of the hood. We're going to glue that into place now. Now we're going to add the door handles, and those will go into place. They're needed, but the windshield wipers and the rear view mirror aren't needed for the drag car, so you can leave those off. Now locate the place for the hood hinges and go ahead and put the hood into position, and your model's complete. Here are the parts that you'll have left over. You can see wheels, tires, the hood, the back seat, stock exhaust, etc., and an extra pair of chrome wheels there for your spare parts bin. Well, there you have it. Your kit is complete and finished, and it looks great in a drag car livery. And this was highly sought after, even back in the day for those purposes. A lot of these cars made it to the drag strip when fitted with the big block engines. And as you can see, it's a real head turner. It's got some great looking styling. It was a nice, affordable muscle car from the era, and they are still wanted today. And if you want something that'll turn heads, decorate it like this. And if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf.
Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet.
This review is brought to you in part by Ryder's Hobby Shops, where the fun begins. Stop in to one of Ryder's 2 convenient Michigan locations where you'll find a full range of the latest hobby products, supplies, parts, tools, and paint. You'll find aisles and aisles of scale model kits, RC models, model rockets, Warhammer gaming, and railroading products. Stop in at Ryder's today and tell them Doug sent you.